one of the things that I do is try to learn more about Old Mele so that I can create more mele, teach more mele. And as a teacher, I'm a teacher of ʻŌlala Hawaii and mele as well. All of mele surrounds all the different facets of my life, professionally and personally. And so I wanted to just try and give you a glimpse into a little bit of my training, a little bit of my process, yeah, and I welcome questions, and I'll try to address as many as I can for today. So I'm gonna be looking at I'm gonna be doing little song or little verses here and there, just to sprinkle and not make it just a talk. So I'm gonna start off with this song called Waipunalei. And Waipunalei is a song that I wrote last summer. And I wanted to write this mele about a place that I didn't really know much about. And so what did I have to do to get this mele going? I would have to do a little bit of research. The name Waipunalei was very attractive to me. Yeah, everybody say Waipunalei, Waipunalei. It's very nice to say. And so I thought, I'm gonna go learn a little bit more about it so I can attach some of my thoughts to this name. And so Waipunalei is in Hilo, near to the Hamakua border. And one of the things that I found out was that our king Umialiloa used to live in Waipunalei. And so those of us who are into genealogy and making connections to certain ali'i, most Hawaiians will try to link their mo'oku auhau, or will claim that they are descendants of Umialiloa. And so I thought, I think he will be my primary character in this mele. And I put myself in the mele, and I started to work out in the Pa'awilo, Hilo area, as I would take my college students to go Malama Aina. And I started to get to know a little bit more of the mo'olelo of Umialiloa. I also learned that that was one of the forested areas that would where the bird catchers would harvest the manu to make the ʻUla. And till today it is a densely populated forest. So just getting to know the landscape, some mo'olelo, and having some training in Haku Mele, having a background on what are some of the motifs, or what are some of the ingredients that make a mele more authentic, perhaps, or more Hawaiian, or what are those things that Kūpuna of our generation and before, what would sound like a good mele to them, what would make sense to them. And so I try to also make the mele sound upland, foresty. If we can put ourselves inside the forest, perhaps we can envision the mist. We can imagine the ferns, the canopy, the big ohia trees, the flowers, the birds. And so when I sing a little bit about this, it's like a transportation piece. And I believe that through mele we can travel in the past, we can definitely be present in the present, and we can also kind of ho'okele our future as well. And so for some of you who have favorite mele that you've learned in your childhood, certain mele can take you right back. Yeah. And then when you learn a new song, you hear a new tune, it's like, I want to learn that. I want to sing that or dance that at my next family reunion. Mele is one of those connecting forces that can really help you do time travel and also travel to different islands or different lands, wherever you want to go. If you we cannot catch the plane, we cannot get a ticket to well, the fastest, most effective way is to get there through mele. And so we can travel through time and space. And that's one of the things that I love about mele, and that I try to impart with my audience or with my students or with my ohana, and then bring in the stories and have that time to commune as mele, people who enjoy mele. So I'm going to start off with this little jam about the forest and about ali'i and about ranking, regalia, all the things that I associate with Umialiloa, with kuleana, with love for his people, for beauty, for health, and being in tune with your spirituality and environment. So here's a quick one. Eke aloha, emali umai oe, eia iwai punalei, wano kana hele aoe, lele manu, o kula iau kamehameha, elua kauai, ke kilikili ua, i kolu i ke alanu hea, li hau mai mei ke oho manai, walai ka laula ilohi ai ke anu me ka ano e loli i ke aloha iwai punalei ho'okahi ki amanu o ʻUla Pulumamo ali'i kovehi upua e ka mana'o no ka lauma mane i ohulu mai e no ilohi ai ke anu me ka ano e loli i ke aloha iwai ho'okahi Kia manu ʻUla ulu mamo aliko vehi Pupua e ka mana'o no ka lauma mane I ulu mahi e no I ulu mahi e no Mahalo nui. So this mele is one example of what I try to build as a mele that would make sense to the old timers, that would make sense to my generation, and that would hopefully make sense to the next generation. And so one of those, oh, mahalo everybody. Oh, this is cool. One of the things that I like, I enjoy about mele is the camaraderie, and that I am able to still spend time with, oh, how's my lighting? Oh, okay. And I'm still able to learn from kumu and mentors such as Larry Kimura. I've been a fan of his mele before I knew him, and I was very lucky to know some of his songs and to be able to ask him questions. So one of the things about Haku Mele for the generations is that to look to the past, to look to people who write good songs, and go into the ohana stash of albums, go into the songs of your own ohana. That's one of the best life lessons is to have the mele that represent yourself or represent your ohana, represent your place, represent your practice, as mele are so connectable to all. And so one of the benefits of Olelo Hawaii education or Hawaiian immersion education, Hawaiian education, is that mele are of a high priority. When I was going to my elementary school, that wasn't like Hawaiian kind of school, the mele were, or any songs that we learned would be mostly for entertainment or to, as like a very secondary kind of priority. So our keiki who are growing up now are familiar with chanting, are familiar with hearing the voices, hearing the perspectives, hearing the ideas with understanding. And that is such a big deal. And so I'd like to mahalo to all the kumuhula, all the oli people, the hula people, and the singers of each ohana, because the singers of the ohana are the ones who keep that tradition going. Whether you're a good singer or not, you folks know, right? Everybody sing, and everybody sing at different levels. Everybody know how to chant. Everybody chant at different levels. So similarly with mele, and even with creating and Haku Mele, it is whatever level you're at, you can contribute. Okay, I'm going to try to share my presentation. I know I told you folks I have one. Okay, let's see. Can you folks see Oh wait, now I cannot see you guys. Huh? Okay. Okay, so let's check this out. You guys can see me. Okay, I see my green light on. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of analysis. Okay, I give you a little bit of my Haku and creative process and some practical application, but let's go through this. Okay, so everybody, if something is awry, can you please just unmute and tell me, because I cannot see you guys anymore for a little while. So concerning mele, what is a mele? What is a mele? What's the big deal about songs? What is it? How do you connect to it? Pehea ipiliai ke mele ya oi. What does mele mean to you? Is it a pick-me-up? Is it your genealogy chant? What are these connections? And then what are the things that make a Hawaiian song Hawaiian? Okay, other than just the language, or other than that it's about something in Hawaii. Okay, what are some of the things? So these are the kinds of questions I often ask myself. Like, okay, what is this song? Why is it attracting me? Is it the tune? Is it the chorus? Is it the lyrics? Is it the feeling? Those are all pieces to the puzzle. And so we can think about, what's our mele jams? And then what really makes a song Hawaiian? And there's so many correct answers. I'm not here to say which one is not Hawaiian, but I can tell you which ones are according to the way I see mele. Okay, so let's take a look at Haku Mele of ancient times. I mean, I'm a Haku Mele because I write songs, but it's not like I wear the jacket that says Haku Mele. It's just something that I do, yeah? And so long time ago, who would be creating mele and what for? So when we think about, our Hawaiian, our olelo, or our in our Hawaiian perspective, in our history, our olelo is oral, right? So oral traditions, all the stories, all the genealogies, all the pertinent information of our existence was all up here. It's all over here, all within. And so Haku Mele of ancient times, I have learned that they were a specialized kind of people because they were responsible for holding knowledge. Yeah, holding knowledge. So in ancient times, it was many kahuna who would be responsible for the proper mele, the proper way to commune with the gods. When we think about kahuna, we go to them for particular kinds of situations because they know what to do. They know the right pule. They know the right recipe. They know what they're doing, and so having the mele, which would include pule, working with our ali'i, working with all the higher powers, the olelo mattered, the mele mattered, and not as a song, but the proper olelo to commune on different levels. Okay, so Haku Mele of those days, they had so much more, I believe, to carry, and they also housed all that knowledge on what to say properly. Okay, so our ali'i were also composers, and hey, even the people, because mele were practical as well. And so what I try to do is to become better in tune with my spiritual, physical world, to pay attention to the environment, okay, so that I can better build my mele. Haku Mele of Ture. Okay, here's a picture with Manu Boy, Larry Kimura, Kelly Rachel, myself, and Hiapo Pereira. We were giving a Haku Mele talk at Imiloa one year. And so a lot of our peers in Haku Mele today are very knowledgeable in many older mele. Yeah. And so we can use that imagery to pull information and see the world through mele. That's kind of a beautiful thing, you know. And then to have Olelo Hawaii proficiency is a big plus. And to be a practitioner of delivering mele, whether you're the one in your family who keeps the mele going, or if you are in hula, not only as kumu but as olapa as well, as musicians in any kind of level of profession or even casual, you know, that adds to the toolbox for mele, to create mele. Here's a couple of my guiding stars. Kahoeuli, which is the steering blade that sets the course on the journey. And I like to use these two examples to help in my mele creation. Ika olelo no keola, ika olelo no kamake. This is kind of well known, actually, that within the language is life and healing, and within the language is also death and hurt. And so it helps us to, you know, choose wisely the words that we use, not only in speech, but also in our mele. We want it to be sound. Yeah, we want it to be good. And we can only have a good mele when we are judged by our peers or our kumu. I mean, that's how we get better at it, by learning from older mele, researching and working with mele of today, so that we can make better mele for tomorrow. And then this next one, I take so seriously, O'oi kaluahi o kau mele, which means that you, as the composer, will be the one to take any hits of a less than great mele. Because we have to choose the good, we have to be careful in choosing our words for songs, for mele. If there's anything not so good inside, it'll be the Haku Mele who will pay for it, really. So it's kind of like you're the victim of your song. And so with these two, olelo no eau, I try this is how I try my best to create meaningful, functional, and nice songs. Oh, okay. All right. So let's look at some types of mele, because not all mele are romantic songs or the kind that sound nice. I mean, there's all kinds, and there's much more than what I have here. But just take a look at these. Mele inoa, when you honor somebody's name and their good deeds. Mele komo, yeah, mele komo and mele kahea, you know, that those mele that have been integrated into our schools as well, not only in halau hula. Mele mahalo, many of us know mele mahalo, especially that one famous one. Ko'ihonua, our origins. That's always interesting to me to look through and see of our genealogies and origins. Mele ma'i, that's one of my favorite kinds of mele, because it shows the importance of ho'omau for the lahui, you know, that we need to be making healthy people, making new generations, keep that going. Mele wahipana are probably what is the type of mele I'm probably most familiar with, because I love places, I love traveling, I like getting to know places through wahipana or storied areas. Mele ho'oipoipo, we gotta have a big handful of those mele as singers, because that's the kind of songs that a lot of hula people like to dance to, at least in my experience. So I love singing those romantic mele, because hey, we all need some romance, yeah. So we can get to the mele if we need an extra dose. And then mele hula, well, that'll go into even more categories. Mele pule, that's probably the most common. For those of us who pule in any language, in any sector of the spirit world, pule is probably what we recognize as the most powerful words. And so we have to be really careful in the way we haku the pule as well. In some places you can be kind of free with your words and how you speak to your higher power, but in most situations when you pule, it's a little bit more intense or with intention and particular kinds of words. Mele kahe, okay. Mele ho'ala, I wrote one of these and, well, the kids woke up, but I don't know, not every time. Yeah, mele ho'ala is the wake up. Some of us blast the radio, some of us get alarm clock, but some chant their children awake. Yeah, wake up. Not like that, but there are some mele ho'ala that I've seen as well. Melele, as we present. And my other favorite kind of mele is mele kanikau, or the dirges, or the obituaries of beloved people. And then mele lahui is the rallying songs that makes the people rise up, for our lahui. So just some types of mele. Okay, so we have this thing called meivi, and it's a word that was created by Larry Kimura, and it's one of the words for poetic device, generally speaking, for when we look at not only in mele but in mo'olelo as well, in oratory, formal oratory. There's all of these kinds of poetic devices that help us remember things, all that vast amount of knowledge that is to be provided through voice, through mele, through intention, through imagery. And so we have two basic categories. Meivi ku'inaivi, which we can look like, we can imagine as the skeleton of a mele. Okay, that's the bones about it. You need the structure, some kind of structure. Then we have the meivi kinohinohi, and that's all like the makeup, the earrings, the lei, like all the decorative agents. So we can, for now, we can have those two kinds of categories that can help construct a good mele. Okay, and so I'd like to just give you a little bit a few examples of these meivi ku'inaivi. So we're thinking about skeleton of the mele, the structure of the mele, and for this one, I'd like to show the opposites. We have that kind of poetic device in mele and in mo'olelo as well, when we're pairing opposites. So that's just one feature. All right, so so this mele is about, this pule is about taking care of your home. Yeah, so this is one way. You pray for your house and for your place so that all of it is protected. And so my luna a lalo. So luna is up, below is lalo, yeah. And then from one corner of the house to the other corner of the house, from the east side to the west side, from the mountain side of the house to the ocean side of the house, from the inside until the outside. Okay, so you can see that encompassing of the opposites. And I love this feature because it encompasses all within. So instead of going, this room, that room, right here, we can just say from all the way on this extreme to the opposite extreme, and that this house would be protected, cared for, and protected from all junk jujus. Okay, so that kind of feature is found in Mele, and that's something that we can use. Okay, so maybe ku'inaivi kanilike. This one has to, this one. Okay, this kind of structural feature, talks about the similar sounds, not necessarily the meanings, but similar sounds. But I won't call it a rhyme at all. Okay, so if you look, this song from Kauai, Aloha ia noa o lihue, Ikaua pa'u pili is a kind of strong rain of lihue Kauai. So you can see how it links up to the next line. Pa'u pili, and then ua pili, there's a similar sound. Yes, get the same word, pili. But that is a poetic device that is often found in Mele. Okay, and then we look at Niumalu, and then go down to Uamalu. And so we can see or hear that they sound similar. Okay, so we're linking up sounds, we're linking up images, and we're crafting. Like this Haku Mele, Anika Uluko, was very skilled already. I just know this song came out real fast. She didn't have to think about it much, no looking in Olelo no Eao book or in the dictionary, because I can tell that because she was so in tune with her place, she could just let these words and images flow out. Yeah. Okay. And then we see Hauola and then Uaola. We can see the pairing of the sound. And there is a level of similar meaning as well. But for this one, it's I'd like to focus on the sound. And then Lana Kila and Kila Kila, they're also similar sounding as well. So that's one feature that you might recognize in the Mele that you know as well. Okay, one more. Now this is a cool one. Mevi ku'ina ivi helu. And this is enumeration. Okay, so here from the Pele and Hi'iaka Mo'olelo, I chose a section of this Mele that speaks to the different wind names or the different winds, personalized names, personalized winds of Anahola Ahupua'a, which is where I'm from on Kauai. Okay, and so we have a listing, and pretty much the only thing that changes in every line is the name of the wind. But so when we have to chant this, or when we have to research what's going on with the winds in Anahola, I had no idea that Anahola was such a windy place, but because of the Mele, I know. I guess because I grew up, I knew some of the winds, but I didn't know the names. But, so we can use Mele also as a primary resource for our literature, for our literacy. Okay, so look, Anahola is windy. Most places on Kauai, not so windy. But Wainiha is another, Haena, get plenty winds. So next time you go, I go to these places, I think, I wonder which wind is this. So mahalo to the Mele. But this kind of enumeration happens a lot, especially in older chants. Okay, and then outside of the skeletons and decorations of a Mele, we also have to think about the context. Okay, so what contextual words? When you talk romantic songs, what are the contextual words that will be obvious that yes, this is a song of escapade, a song of love, a song of butterfly feelings? And then we would have, like perhaps for the kanikau or the dirge ones, that even though it's a sad situation, in the kanikau there are sentiments of sadness and great love and honor in those kinds of songs, kanikau. So what kind of words would be appropriate for that kind. You cannot, and because we have to be careful with the words, what are all the sad or painful, grieving kind of words? Those are the kinds of words that are kind of reserved for those kinds of mele. We don't want to bring them into, mele mahalo or mele kahea. So being aware of the context, contextual words for different kinds of mele is also very important. And so my example here is part of my song Waipunalei that I sang earlier, and that I wanted it to be in the context of an ali'i. And who serves the ali'i? What are the particular roles that people associated with ali'i do? And so ho'okahi kia manu o homo'ula. Homo'ula is right next to Waipunalei, and Homo'ula's forest was where many of our kia manu or bird catchers used to live and get catch the birds in their highly skilled ways, because of course they didn't kill the manu. They would entice the manu, pick off a couple of feathers and let them go, and then save up or gather enough to create the ahu'ula and all the finery. And so that kind of high skill, that kind of ability to work with and for ali'i, these are definitely higher ranking people of the time. And then hulu mamo ali'i ko vehi. Now the hulu are the feathers, and mamo yellow birds, and mamo is like lehua, that bright yellow color. And kovehi is your decoration, like your decoration. So umialiloa is service or is taken care of by the bird people too. And they make something so valuable for him to wear. Okay, so it's not, you cannot order them at the store. It has to be made in the highest level of intention. So those kinds of contextual ideas is what I try to put in my mele. Upua e kamana'o no kalau mamane. You can have, there's a picture here of the mamane, bright yellow as well. It's blooming right now in Mauna Kea, so I'm really excited about that. But I look at this and I just see life. I see potential. I see food for palila birds. And so I think it's a beautiful flower. It reminds me of ali'i colors, and it's available only on Mauna Kea. So it's like one of those things I try to link up with something being so special and related to this area without saying everything. Yeah, just giving a little bit context. This song, I'm saying that this part of the mele, my context is how I relate to this bird catcher, even though that's generations ago. But I put myself in the mele so I can become part of the mo'olelo, and and all of these things. So to have relation with the kia manu, who is very skilled, who is very valued. The regalia that his products produce is high ranking. And so these are the things that I want to align myself with, aligning myself with ali'i. And then upua e kamana'o no kalau mamane, this one is about the decoration. For the decoration for self. Yeah. I ohu ulumahi hie no'u. This is what I want to wear. So not like I want to wear a lei, but symbolically, I want to engage with somebody of this kind of rank. So I'm putting myself in the situation, which is part of the context. Yeah. Okay. So having knowledge of that poetic device, having knowledge about older mele that we can draw from to create more mele, having Olelo Hawaii proficiency, of course, is important for this process. And then we also have the creative process. So for music, the music part, that one is a little bit more free. And if you've ever heard music from Peter Moon Band that features Larry Kimura's compositions, yeah, a lot of those songs are a little more rock and roll, very different from ipu and pahu, and even just ukulele. So these are some of the things that I've learned and am practicing, and also training my students, or especially my children, to be a little bit more appreciative, try to be more appreciative and aware of the role of mele. Right? So I think we're running these minutes. Oh, almost pow, so fast. Yeah, these are a few of my thoughts, and I think we're almost to time for questions and answers. But I wanted to share a little bit. Here's what my Haku Mele projects have looked like over the years. Na'u'oi was early 2000s, and I was working for Ahapuna Leo at the time, and cranking out some songs for the schools, all the Kula Kamali'i and Kula Kaiapuni. And this Na'u'oi project was my personal songbook that was also meant to add and enhance education in Kula Kaiapuni, but also to share songs of now with the masses. ʻUla did that as well. I did a lot of original music. And so I've been working as a musician as well in our community. And it's really, to me, it's more advocacy than entertainment. At least that's the way I look at it. And then here on the bottom is my recent release, just this past November. And this one on the right is my album. I made a vinyl album as well that is releasing right now, today, on my website. Did I spell my name wrong? Oh, sorry, gang. All right. So within these projects, I have housed a lot of new mele. And I really enjoy singing. I really enjoy creating mele. And I really enjoy collaborating with many of Hawaii's musicians in my community, in my ohana, in our schools. And so when we're here for culture-based education, I wanted to share that I would love to come into your classrooms if you want and share a little bit about mele. That's part of what I love to do, work with our opio and talk mele, because we know that opio love music. And if I can help to increase Hawaiian mele in their playlist, that's one of my everyday goals. And so, mahalo nui loa. You can find me at, Kainani Kahaunaele at Gmail. Easy. Okay, so I've unstopped this presentation. So mahalo, we're about 10:20 now. I know one session is not enough to talk about so many things that I love about mele. But are there any Questions, comments, concerns, jokes?
There was one question in the chat from Kūpuna Ron. Does one have to be certified to be able to Haku Mele or Haku Oli and share it in the classroom or in public?
Absolutely not. You don't need to be certified. We're all gonna start somewhere, and I would suggest that if you haven't really created mele that you're gonna share for your students or impart out, that you would want to work with somebody who has created those kinds of mele for the purpose, yeah. And so definitely no certification, but once you start, then your learning will develop from there. So yeah, I would say try and call somebody who does that kind of thing to help you along, because if you're going to teach it to students, they're going to take it and use it, right? It's for practical reasons as well. So yeah, I would encourage you to create mele. We all have to start somewhere. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
There were lots and lots of mahalos to you, Kainani.
Oh, this is cool. Mahalo.
And I know time is going by so fast. I wish we had another hour to just ho'olohe, especially your mahalo nui, Kainani, for sharing your ike, and especially your mele, waipunale earlier. So beautiful.
Ay, mahalo nui loa. Are we finished at 10:30? If so, I have a little more to share.
So the session is actually paused now, but the room will be open.
Okay.
So you can actually share if you want. There just may be a lot of movement in the chat, people coming in, going. But we really do want to mahalo you and mahalo the audience. So now's your chance also again, if you haven't shared it in the chat, if you want to turn on your camera, give Kainani a wave. But we are getting requests from the chat to please share. So we have some eager listeners if you want to hang on and share another mele.
Oh yeah. I'm the transition singer. So this class to next.
Mahalo nui, everybody. Mahalo nui and Kainani.
Oh, sure. Oh, this one. This is Kaula number 9. Akahi ke aloha hiki maine I ka ho'ola lele o ka maka hoa e ka uai I luna ala e Hawaii pauai na ai a kaui le hailu na I kaule o palisa vele lauli no haku kila I kilipu e kaua a ho o maui ho Ki haupai pua kaulana Ya hoku oli. E hailuna I kaule o palisa. Mele lauli no hauku kila kila. I kili pue kaua. Aho o maui ho. Hello, everybody. That was a trip to Paris. A free one. A free one. And nice to see all the friends. I'm slowly getting to see everybody as they check out. And mahalo. I look forward to making music with you and for you whenever can, when can. And then I'm gonna be singing again a little bit in the conference closing keynote speech with my girls. And so maybe I see you guys again.
Hello, nui loa e Kainani. Get one more question.
Oh, sure.
But I was gonna email it to you. Just somebody asking if you can haku anu la ho'i ea mele.
Oh, I guess that would be a great challenge. Yes, I'll try my best. Yeah, because I usually playing at the La Ho'i events. Might as well bring something to the table next one. Yeah. So mahalo for that inspiration. Can do, should do. Yeah. Okay. So aloha everybody. Have a great day of inspiration by our Kūpuna and by our presenters today. Mahalo e Luana, me apelila. And I love you guys. Ahui ho. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo. Aloha. Hui ho.
Oh.